Yes, what is the movie about?
What is the movie about? You haven't seen it?
Yeah.
No. I honestly just think that the movie, like at its simplest and most detail, is about 3 lost souls living in New York, and I do think it's that specific to New York, and in that it can kind of be a universal thing about 3 archetypes and all that kind of stuff, but I think it is that specific, which is why it might work and resonate elsewhere. I think when you get that specific about a location and a generation or 3 different generations, things start to branch out and become universal. But yeah, I do think it's just about simply 3 lost people kind of searching for something.
As an Aussie, how tricky is it to put yourself in a kind of mindset of another city?
Well, I'm from Serbia. I've travelled a lot. Hi, Adelaide, come and join us, please. Sorry, I'm just talking about my life. Sorry. As an Aussie, he called me an Aussie, which is nice. No, because I grew up in Serbia and I've travelled so much. I've always been, me personally, I've always been putting myself in different situations in different cities and different people. It's not, I don't know, as soon as we got to New York, I mean, Mark had me, my research was to go out and party with the girls that Violet was based on. So I quickly got myself into that mind frame. And it wasn't too difficult, actually. Because you kind of find it inside yourself rather than out, and then you find a way to belong from in here rather than out there.
Adelaide, same for you, being not from New York, putting yourself in that kind of mindset?
In that mindset? I don't know. I just acted.
She's just brilliant naturally. I have to work really hard. I think it's what I do. I don't know. You've been with Keanu too long in that. I know. Question.
I know, we've been very kind of dark.
Okay,
Anyway.
you guys ready to start?
Yeah,
let's start. But you can start timing in about 2 minutes.
I do know what you mean about the New Yorker's identity. But I think having Mark on the team, and as our orchestrator, that really that was kind of.
I think it added to it too that you were kind of. You didn't have it wasn't like family were over in Brooklyn or something. It was kind of like made you all feel like loners, even more.
But he wanted that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it worked.
Yeah, we really stuck together, and I think that's what's that is the catch-22 about New York, is that you feel like you're surrounded by so many people, and yet you can be so
alone.
Desperately alone. So
Was it hard to make them likable, these girls? Because some of them, especially your character, has a few scenes. I was a bartender for a long time, and she's screaming at those.
Wait till you see the special features, because there's like a 10-minute monologue I do to her screaming at her. It didn't make the movie.
But you become very likable once the camera comes, and I think you both transform.
Yes.
And I think that what was great was you almost become polar opposites in some way, because it seems like you were able to let go of being like the strong, like savior one, and actually kind of grieve about what had happened to you. And then I thought you just became more sort of calm and like just not so angry about things.
That's so interesting because I played the opposite, but I think that's awesome. But I think that's what happens in film. Like you play one thing or one thing's inside of you, but we were talking about how when the camera comes, it's ironic that they can be more themselves, because. Well, I think for Violet, she wants her life on a big screen. I mean, she's got nothing. Like they're in so much pain, both of them. I think Violet's way of dealing with it is to just affect everyone around her and try and get either conflict or love or something from other people. And you can talk about Mia a bit if you want in terms of that stuff. But I think they're different.
Well, don't you speak now?
You can do it. I can't time you.
I found the camera really interesting because I actually think. I think in a way, I didn't think this when we were filming it, but from watching the film, I felt like for the first time, it's kind of John's gift to the girls is documenting themselves.
Right.
I know you think he's horrible, but I think he was trying to help us.
No, it wasn't my thought at all.
Oh, right.
No, I'm actually laughing at what my thought. It doesn't matter, keep going and then I'll share.
There's something very funny going on in here that the crowd are really listening to. Good, totally off topic. No, I think the camera starts. Yeah, it does start their grieving process, and for the first time they kind of have to, have something to show for themselves, and yeah.
How much of it did you get to improv when the camera was up? I mean, was it all completely scripted, or did you guys have a little bit of playtime with that?
The thing is that we had playtime. Like, we basically improvised into the scenes so that it was seamless the way that it looked, but and then we improvised after the scenes. And there's a lot of that stuff is in the special features because Mark really just cut what he wrote. But what he wrote we ended up coming around back to it even after we tried to discover other ways of doing it, because how he wrote was actually the best way to say what we wanted to say most naturally. And it just came out that way in the end. So it just became...
It was really fascinating because during the rehearsal period, we'd kind of play around with the dialogue and find, kind of, it's like putting, moving the puzzle piece around in ourselves. And then by the time we were filming, we would literally say correct to the because he... To the because he'd written it. It was a very well-written script, so...
When it comes to the character of John, I'm really curious to know what your guys' first, thoughts of that character was when you read him in the script compared to how Reeves ended up playing him in the...
Sorry, I missed that. I was just thinking about fucking him.
But I was just curious about your own thoughts on that character and then how Reeves brought him to life. Like, was it different than what you originally thought that character would become on the...
I think John's I actually think he's frustrating, but he's also someone in your life. Do you know what I mean? He's stagnant, and he's stagnant. But we kind of know him, and I really like that about his character is that he's not really moving, but throughout the course of the film, as the camera did for the girls, he kind of for the first time had to have some kind of way of something to document, and he's struggled.
I don't know. I was really freaked out by the character of Violet, so I didn't even pay attention to the other character. Where's my bit? What's next bit? Okay, and Keanu's going to say that. Okay, and then what am I going to say?
Quickly, because I've got something to say next.
And it was just. But to be honest with you, I didn't have any preconceived ideas of what he would do. I really didn't. I just but I loved what he did, and it was. Yeah.
What was
Mark's
Mark's
provocative?
Sorry. What was Mark's style of giving you notes? Like, when he had you do a scene, like, what was his way? Because he was used to doing documentaries, right? So.
Yeah. So I just wanted it. I think you should think about her having pink socks. Yeah.
There's a banana, and you know if you step on it, you're gonna slip.
He knows what he wants. He loves his script. He wanted his script, to come to life, and it was pretty kind of. It seemed like it was hands off, but it wasn't. Like he had his hands all over it.
It was really interesting. He would give us each very separate direction and secretive.
Secretly,
so he'd take you away and give you a note, and what actually ended up happening was you didn't benefit from the direction as much as the other two did, because it was also, their reaction from it was so profound. It was, I've never worked with a director who worked like that, but
he's really collaborative like that too.
So I didn't even know how he directed you.
You got so much. Well, it's a secret. He told me. But not like that. But he said it was all about me. I think most of the work was done in the rehearsal actually, which was like this kind of four-way conversation between the actors and him, and there was a real understanding that he wanted his words to be spoken, but we could improvise, and I think by being that willing to allow us to own them, we actually owned his words and made them our own, either end of each scene. And I think 9 times, him and I argued a bit, I have to say. I don't know whether you guys did, but him and I argued a bit. And I was just challenged by it. But that was awesome because it made everything so much better. It really did. I think that those kind of relationships actually benefit a film rather than not. And I think you have to...
shows that you care.
And that both of us care and we both have opinions and,
How much rehearsal time did you have?
A couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Do you prefer that to like big films? I know you both have done Moulin Rouge or what's the Gatsby coming out? Sorry. Do you prefer a smaller film like this, or would you have more time?
I think everything varies. I adored this. I thought it was a great way to learn how to. For me, it was just an enormous lesson in acting, because we did have so much time and so much freedom, and and we were all just so invested and enthusiastic about the part, about the project,
about the whole project, including Keanu, who was actually when Adelaide and I arrived.
We were both trying to play it very
like, oh, it's Keanu. And then Keanu, hey girls, this is cool. And we're like, yes, it's cool. Yes, it's such a cool movie. Which really gave us permission. And then the rehearsals were just so intimate on every level, emotional and physical. Keanu took off his pants so we could practice the blowjob scene in front of everyone. And I was like, oh, there's a little piece of cloth divided myself, and he's mad.
Created a great dynamic. It actually set up the dynamic of us three, because I was sitting on the couch going, okay, just observing
and I were in some kind of weird
corrupting John
transaction. But it was really great, because it just meant that we could be as open as I think we both crave to be, which is hard. It would be hard. We're younger women, younger actresses, and coming and working with a superstar, and it would be so easy for him to kind of be, this is my movie, and I'm so cool, and I'm Keanu, and be like, this is what we're gonna do, and for us to go, yes, okay, that's what we'll do. Are you okay? And then for us to bitch behind his back, and, but it just wasn't that at all. It was completely the opposite. It was such a collaborative kind of.
Could you talk about the relationship between your two characters and what it was like playing off each other?
We don't need to talk. We can just look at each other, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome.
Yes. It was amazing. Yeah. I think Mia and Violet are just so interesting, because they kind of shift between roommates and then sisters and then mother-daughter, and then it flips around, and I found. I think what was really funny was, I know that I personally felt like the whole time that Mia was in control of the situation and the territory, whereas I'm very sure that Bojana thought that she was in control.
I thought I was in control, not even Violet. Me, Bojana, in control of the whole shoot.
But there's a really interesting scene where I started accidentally laughing at.
In my big moment.
Is
that the big moment?
It was a big moment. Yeah, I screwed it up. No, both Keanu and I we just got the giggle fits, and Mark just started rolling, and it's actually ended up in the film, because the repercussions of that on Mia, just really fascinating. I mean, it was always it's a power play. There's power play the whole way through the film. So
we had and I actually kind of think that when we all met, the dynamic between us formed the characters. I don't think you could deny that, because we that's how we had to work. We had to bring ourselves in the reality of who we were, like Bojana, Keanu, and Adelaide, and the dynamics of how that worked. I was going to say Mia. I'm sorry. Bruce? Is that what you said? Brisbane. And there was this. I mean, we rehearsed. There was, the budget. We rehearsed that dance that we do at the end at my place, like in my lounge room. We are like kneeling on the floor.
It was a really awkward thing to do.
And this is when we kiss, and then we do this, and then we gyrate here, and it was just really odd. But that's kind of the way it was, and
we just laughed the whole way through. So.
Yeah, and the way that the way that the set worked was that everyone was in each other's space. So there's Keanu in the corner. There's me like going, oh, Keanu's in the corner, brooding. He's brooding. What's he doing? I want his attention. And then there's Adelaide going, Bojana wants Keanu's attention again. The whole dynamic kind of formed that way.
We were shooting. I mean, a lot of Violet's apartment we had all the crew in this one apartment in New York, and in Brooklyn we had the top apartment as our a bit like a baby's cot was, and
that was Keanu's green room, was a baby's room. Mine was the kitchen, and yours was behind the shutter.
I didn't have one.
The lounge room. Yeah.
Was the wine glass save a happy accident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have any reservations about how sparse the script was? Because, did you feel like you wanted to fill it up with dialogue and more movement than there actually was?
Well, we did. I did. I improvised so much. And a lot of it apparently is in the DVD, so I'll get to see it.
Was
In
you
the special features.
Was there anything specific that you were able to bring to this movie that wasn't in the script? It seems like this is a movie that would demand a lot from the actors in it. So.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think that's more for the audience to
True, yeah.
And, decide.
Yeah, I think that Mark was really. I think once it was cast, Mark was really open to us very much bringing ourselves. I mean, it's a really strange film to talk about because you can talk about it on one aspect. You can talk about all the generational things, like the social things, like Generation what does that mean? What is that generation? Who are we? What does media and the internet and technology have to? What part does that have to play in the way that we communicate, the way we deny our pain and our feelings and all that stuff? And then what kind of humans do we become and how do we interact with each other? But then there's also this other layer, which is that we had to really dig very deep into who we were to be able to play the characters. And that's a whole other kind of narcissistic actor's journey. And for me, it was very much about really seriously playing the person that I could have been if I didn't stop drinking 7 years ago, which I did stop. And very much, that was absolutely my part. And so for me personally, I just brought that. I had to bring myself, which I've never done. And no one would know that because maybe you guys do, I'm talking like fucking lightning. But my people who don't know me as a drinker would go, my God, that's she's crazy. That's nothing like her. Whoa, where did that come from? Yeah. But it came from who I would absolutely unequivocally be if I'd stayed on that path.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, she remains the mysterious, quiet one. What can I say?
The scene, Mia, where you just talked about what men want, what children want, were those Mark's lines or were?
It's my favorite ones.
They were.
Okay.
But yeah, that scene was really interesting as well. I don't know. I find Mia, when we were looking at her character, we actually saw that a lot of her characteristics corresponded directly with a sociopath. So a lot of what she speaks is just trying to create a reaction and play with both John and I think especially for so yeah, she has a strange relationship with the truth and what she perceives to be the truth, what she where she strives to be and where she's at. So yeah, I don't know. All right.
Bye. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.